should be muted.
You know they're out there, don't you?
In the history of television, great men and women have brought us up-to-the-minute news as it happens. From the moon landing to the dangers of secondhand smoke. Sometimes they even make us laugh. The one thing that stays the same, everyone wants to know what's in the news. From the Voss News Network, your hosts, Poonsauce McNasty, and to give the show some credibility, Logan Exhales. And now, back to the studio.
Boom. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of What's News. I feel like we haven't done this in a minute. I don't know. It feels like it's been a minute.
It's been 3 weeks now?
Almost, I think.
Because we moved it back?
Yeah, we moved it back just so we can get this guy over. If you see this little special guest, we had to sneak it in here. But yeah, we got Mr. Matt Culley on joining us today since he's one of the main people I've been going to for the topic we're about to talk about this evening. So
that's scary. If I'm one of the main people.
Hey, well, you've been a great help so far. So
I go to Matt for all the side commentary.
So yeah, if you guys haven't seen already, today we're going to be talking about more of that kind of doom and gloom vape mail ban that's been around for, I would say, months now.
Like,
to be honest,
over a year.
I would say, was it June it was first introduced, I think? Yeah, something like that. It was put on the table and then things went through, and now we're starting to see all the effects of this stuff. But before we get into all that, I think we should just go over our buffets a little bit just to keep it somewhat like a vaping show. So why don't we start off with our special guest here. Matt, what are you vaping on tonight?
I don't have any of the juices with me.
That's perfectly fine.
They're on my other table. The BSKR Mini V2 MTLRTA. So many words. On the Foxy One mod. What is this? The Anakin Census. And a Caliburn G.
Look at that. Keeping it short, simple. But I feel like those are like the perfect like desk setups.
Yeah. I mean, I MTL so much now, and then I kind of got this for restricted lung hits. I'm testing this out because it's got like some new technology, like coil cleaning technology. So I'm trying to see like, you know, how long I can vape it without having to swap a coil out, see if it actually works.
Yeah.
Coil cleaning technology?
Well, I know.
Yeah, it kind of does like some weird like vibration shit at the end of your vape, and or you can like manually do it, like, and I think it's just like doing like a really low like a really low power on the coil after you're vaping or something, or it shakes it a little bit. I don't know what's going on.
Interesting.
I haven't figured it out, but like you can hear it, and they're supposed to be giving me more information on it, but they're all on like, I think they're still on Chinese New Year holiday. But
well, because I know they had that like coil head cleaner thing that some
Yeah, I've
company
seen
came
that,
out
the
with.
little egg-looking thing.
yeah, I've seen those before too.
Yeah.
Where it's like, I guess if you want to get that, go right ahead, but for me, it's just simpler just to take another coil head and replace it.
I know people that like wash their coils or run them through like ultrasonic cleaners and they leave them out to dry and like.
But does that clean the cotton?
Tell me,
inside
like
of
I've
there?
heard mixed things. Like some people are like, well, I can get an extra couple of days or I can get an extra week out of it or whatever, but.
I don't know, for the time you're spending and how much the coils are actually cost,
Yeah,
is it really like you're saving
Buy an
any money?
RTA, clean your coils.
Yeah. So Logan, what do you got?
I'm simple. I'm easy this
That's
week.
okay.
Hashtag yard mod died, everybody. It's dead.
It's
It won't take a charge. So, Aegis, original Aegis 26650 with a slide sitting on top, some 10 milligram water Malone inside there. And then I've got Boxer, 21700 Squonk with a Citadel sitting on top, and I've got some 3 milligram Coastal Clouds Blueberry Limeade in that. And then just for this week's nicotine alternatives, I'm using Rogue. Their 6 milligram mango is really nice. That's for nicotine pouches. And then for snus, I've got some Captain Melon. Really good stuff.
Oh, very nice, very nice.
And that is what I've got for a buffet this week.
Okay, let's see. What do I got?
What do you got, Corey?
I got the MK Regina with the Dwarf DL. Kind of one of my go-to direct lung setups. And inside of there, I got some of that Sifu's Never Mind That Shit, Here Comes Mango. There's mango champagne, which is delicious. And then I still like praise myself for having this mod last as long as it has, but I got the iJoy Captain still kicking and rocking with the Violator on top of there from QP. And inside of there, I got a little bit left of my bottle of Bule Bolu. And then here's something that's going to be... I was showing Logan this before the stream today, but it was like, I got a liquid that I've had in my drawer that's a huge blast from the past. So this is going to be something funny to show. So I'll show the liquid in the tank first off. It'll give you a little hint. I got the mix with the GT4S. But the liquid inside of there is some of that Heisenberg. I found that in the drawer. I was like, holy crap. I haven't seen this stuff in forever. And surprisingly, it's not that bad, to be honest. It's okay. It's not like the best
Is it
Blue
as
Raz.
good as it was 7 years ago?
See, I don't remember having it. I might have had it 7 years ago. I just probably don't remember. And it's decent. It's not anything
Who
to
makes that one? Because I remember like so many people were making a Heisenberg liquid back.
Innovate makes it.
Innovate makes that one? Gotcha.
So apparently, like when it comes to Heisenberg, they have a really, really close like cult following when it comes to it. So it's like, it was back in the day, it was like a mix, it was like a battle between Heisenberg, and then Vaporgate came out with the Blue Smurf or whatever it was.
Oh, yeah.
And then there was a battle of who had the superior blue raspberry, blue
So I
windshield
remember
wiper
back then
fluid.
you'd even go into like a vape shop, and this is around the time I started vaping, like 2012, 2013, and they would have their own like Heisenberg flavors too, like house juice Heisenberg, like that was the thing back then.
I mean, I don't think the color is really a necessary thing. I've tried to explain to somebody whenever I go out in public vaping this, and I'm not vaping windshield wiper fluid, but
Yeah, it's no longer light blue.
yeah, it turned into like a bluish
has
green
turned
hue.
it
But
old cool green.
yeah, it literally kind of looks like mouthwash. But It is what it is.
There you go. I mean, if you ever get, just tell people it's mouthwash.
At least you can still see through it. I remember like unicorn milks and shit like that, where it was like, it's just,
I have some stuff in rotation right now that
strawberry milk.
The steeped level has kind of gone a little insane that I'm still vaping on, but it's like get 2 tanks full and always have to re-wick just because that's how dark it is.
I've got a bottle of Ollie from Rescued that is about that color now.
It's
because I got that bottle from Nick at the rally down in DC, and I opened it. I vaped maybe like a third of it, and then I just put it on the shelf, and it's just sat there since. And I broke it out the other day, and it's so dark now.
So that is what I got going in the rotation today, but let's start getting into why we have Mr. Matt Culley on this evening. I don't want to say like if you don't know about this already, which it's something that everybody should already know about. Even companies that are supposedly in the loop of things are just coming out with these past few weeks saying we had no idea about this vape mail ban. I'm like, okay. So yeah, this little thing that we found out about in June, kind of bring back towards the beginning. It was put on the desk, I would say around that time, and it was sitting there. It was sitting on Mitch McConnell's desk for at least June, probably at least half a year almost, before suddenly out of nowhere it got thrown into the federal budget bill, which is a need to pass situation, to where they just toss it in there. Pretty much it was an equivalent of what New York did with their statewide ban, and they just threw it in there overnight, and we found out about it when it already was signed.
So, New York was a shitty situation. There wasn't a lot we could do here.
Yeah. So now we're starting to
fought back every bill leading up to it.
So now we're starting to see the repercussions of all this stuff going on right now, where USPS has to pretty much set a guideline of showing how they're not going to ship vapor products and how they're going to enforce it. First of all, I think they just came out with that probably in the last month. I think they had a statement they came out with. I'm not sure. I know UPS came out with their statement and FedEx came out with their statement saying that they're just no longer shipping the stuff, which is crappy because I know a lot of businesses usually went in, and when it came to getting stuff from wholesalers, a lot of their stuff was shipped either via UPS or FedEx. And it's kind of a scary thing with all these shops kind of panicking, like, how are we going to get our product now? Where, I don't know, it's just, Matt, I know you've been getting a lot of questions about it, like crazy, ever since you did that live, pretty much explaining everything that you knew.
Yeah, it's, well, I mean, to preface it, it's not like a complete vape mail ban, but it was basically throwing vaping into the PACT Act, which makes it, it bans vape mail business to consumer through USPS. And if you are going to ship it with another shipper, there's a bunch of different guidelines you have to follow. There's a bunch of reporting you have to do, stuff like that. And so UPS and FedEx kind of overreacted and kind of preemptively just said, okay, we're going to ban this because they don't. I think there's a lot of fog around this where they don't know exactly what's going on. They haven't gotten anything from USPS yet, and so it's kind of like a preemptive, we're just not going to do this. And so I know this has a lot of this has a lot of different effects on the cannabis space, because it would apply to cannabis vaporizers.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of lobbying going on right now in DC from cannabis companies, especially, to get USPS to, put out the definitions, put out the what's the word? Clarification that
has USPS put out their final guidance on it?
No, and I don't think they're going to be doing that till April.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
So, I'm not really super concerned for the B2B. I think that there's ways for, there's some talk that USPS will still be able to ship B2B, distro to shops. There's other talks of like, other shipping networks, freight, stuff like that. I think that they'll get that figured out, but it's not looking good for B2C, in my opinion. Unless I could see UPS and FedEx saying, okay, we're going to do B2B now that it's been clarified, but I don't know if they're going to be going back on the whole B2C thing. But I do think that because they're getting lobbied so hard, like, and this has implications with the cannabis industry and stuff, I think they might, USPS might come out and say, okay, we're gonna have enforcement discretion when it comes to hardware itself that is not filled with nicotine. So it wouldn't shock me if like they loosen up on that part of it, because this would fuck the cannabis industry. I mean, a company like PAX or something, like they'd be done. I foresee like something happening there, but as far as like, will online retailers in the US be able to survive this? That's tough to say. I'm sure
it's gonna be difficult.
The big dogs are like really trying hard to figure something out right now, but if you start seeing them fold, then it would tell me that
we've already been seeing companies folding left and right, shutting down their online stores.
It's small guys mostly, and usually like there's always preemptive folding. Like before 8/8/16, you had people folding. At the PMTA deadline, you had people folding. My take is 75% of the time they were already hurting with business anyway, and they're just like, screw it, like this is the last straw. But
Michigan saw a lot of that when Whitmer proposed her thing. There were places in Michigan shut down all over the place.
Yeah, and so if you start seeing the big companies like the giant vapes, the Element vapes, the stuff like that, just like we tried, there's nothing we can do, we're going under, then that probably means that's the end of online shipping to customers in the States.
Yeah, and it sucks seeing the smaller ones go, especially since a lot of these ones have been places we like to shop. People like me and Logan like going to Stan's site, Mike Vapes. Smacks is on that list of shutting down. We got so like excited that these companies could possibly stay in there due to possibly correctly going through the PMTA process, but with all these different things coming out to kind of back them up for another 5 steps for it. And because I know there was a thing, like especially when it came to New York's ban, where it's like if the company correctly filed a PMTA, then they would no longer apply to that New York ban. I don't know if that's going to apply to this vape mail thing as well.
No, the vape mail has nothing to do with the PMTA.
Because it's the PACT Act part.
New York, we're the only state where that's included in the flavor ban. Other states that have flavor bans don't have a PMTA exemption. But I mean, the kicker to the whole New York PMTA exemption is PMTAs could take years. So, and it's all up in the air whether any pass or not. But if they do, it'll be years from now. And what shops are going to be left open in New York State years from now when they could sell flavors again? You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, vape mail ban or not, like we were headed for some consolidation. It was just always going to happen. And that's what, things like this speed it up, unfortunately. Now, obviously, anytime there's a demand for a product and, there's all of a sudden a big hole, a vacuum basically gets created. There's somebody else that's going to fill that vacuum. So, what I said in my live stream and what I foresee is you're going to see shitloads of, Canadian online retailers, European online retailers, Chinese online retailers that are going to still be shipping to the States because, for them, what's the risk? So, if you're a U.S. online retailer and you just keep breaking the rules, you could potentially get, big fines, criminal charges.
Jail
but
time.
For, a Canadian online retailer, they might get a package stopped at the border once in a while, but that's about it. And so, that's, you could still buy cigarettes that are, not approved by the FDA from European online retailers, and they'll ship them over here to you. And I have friends that have done that for years.
Yeah, I had family that did that.
And so that's what I foresee happening. I think like the savvy folks that, and it's not like telling anybody, because I got shit on from my live stream, like I was telling people to break the law. First off, I'm pretty sure if you order from a Canadian retailer or whoever, and you're in the U.S., it's not the consumer that's breaking the law, right? You're not the one that's breaking the law. But I just foresee it happening. Like the vacuum's going to get filled somehow. And if you're a savvy vapor, you're probably still going to be able to figure out how to get the shit you want. But obviously, those people that, you know, maybe just always bought the same thing from Vapor DNA for the last 5 years, you know, you're a granny or a grandpa and you're not really internet savvy and whatever. And all of a sudden your U.S. online retailers shut down. Like it's going to hurt those types of folks.
Definitely. And it's one thing that really surprised me about all this stuff, especially when seeing like FedEx. I wasn't really surprised by saying they're going to do it. They're going to jump right on the freaking wagon. It's like they feel any kind of pressure towards them, they're like, okay, we'll just stop. I was surprised about the UPS thing because UPS has been shipping tobacco products under the PACT Act since, I believe, the 80s, like shipping loose leaf tobacco and all that stuff.
Yeah, but they don't ship cigarettes B to C. They haven't shipped other stuff under the PACT Act because loose leaf wasn't part of the PACT Act, from my understanding.
Really?
If you look at their, I could be wrong here, but like if you look at like UPS's guidelines, they've always said like, you know, we're not shipping B2C cigarettes or cigars, and if you are shipping other nicotine products, you have to like you have to fill out some addendum or whatever with us and whatnot, which I'm sure a lot of people weren't doing anyway.
Yeah.
But again, like I think this was just like all of a sudden this was thrown on their laps. It was it's just buried inside of a spending bill, and like they didn't have any further clarification. So like they probably figured like we're best to just like ban it all until we know what's going on.
Yeah, they suppose like, okay, let's just get it off our table just so we don't have to look at it for a while. And that's what...
So like I could see them, opening back up to B2B. I just don't know. I don't know if they're going to be doing B2C. Or I could see them like saying like, we'll only do B2C if it's not, there's no nicotine in the package. So like hardware, and stuff like that. But if there's anything nicotine related, like they won't ship it.
And there was
what a nightmare. Yeah, I mean, then raises the question about like 0 milligram and if it's tobacco specific, or like if TFN would apply, if it's strictly nicotine. Like there's so many nuances to that conversation too.
It's a big can of worms. I mean, it really is. And all right now, according to the law that was passed, all vapor products are part of the PACT Act. That's not going to change. No. But like I said, I think USPS might, they can exercise enforcement discretion from my understanding. And they might, them and the ATF may say, we are not going to enforce against non-nicotine containing hardware, which is what a lot of people in the industry, in the cannabis industry, are like pushing for right now.
Which if it's going to work for one side, why not make it work?
Well, yeah, and they're not going to be able to. So that's my take, is like, if they say, oh, we're not going to enforce against cannabis vapor hardware, like how is, then you're asking like these shippers to try to figure out like what's what,
yeah,
right?
That's...
And so many, like when you just look at mods in general, like it's got a 510 connection.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
you know what I mean? Like how do you decipher between the two?
You can't for them. Like, and so it seems to me like they'd be more likely to just say all hardware as long as there's no nicotine inside of it.
Which in the end of the day, that would be better than nothing, in my opinion. It'd be kind of one small step in a direction that is reasonable for, I would say, the mass populace.
Like Granny can get her coil heads, but she can't get her liquid. Yeah. I mean, you're just it's a halfway measure kind of thing. It's better than nothing, but
there is going to be a time probably where even if that happens, like you're going to have like a dead spot where already the USP or UPS and FedEx are saying they're not shipping, and the clarification stuff hasn't come out yet, and maybe some companies already went out of business. So it's like there's already going to be damage done even if they change that.
Yeah.
You know, and how many U.S. online retailers could survive without selling e-liquid and only selling hardware? Like, probably not a bunch.
Yeah, it's because you got to look at it.
Like you said, that's where we're going to see, you'll see even more consolidation.
Because when it comes to
Yeah,
vape
you'll
shops,
see more consolidation, and like I said, I think you're going to see a shitload of I think that there's probably foreign online retailers right now that are like licking their chops, thinking like, we're gonna, you know, make some big money, and you can get, you know, packages shipped through DHL from Canada for like, you know, $5-10 or whatever.
It's not bad.
As US vape mail would get to you, but unfortunately, it's just makes it more difficult for people to have to figure out, you know, seek that stuff out, and you'll see U.S. businesses going under in the process.
Yeah, because Logan actually brought this to my attention. We were talking about DHL kind of being in the works without, where I think from what we saw on their e-commerce side of things, on that site part of it, that from with shipping within the country, so it's like something from U.S. staying to the U.S. is like a prohibited.
Yeah, you
when
can't
it comes to shipping
tobacco products through domestically, like from one state to another, but you know, they're still allowing obviously like side. That's how everyone you know, DHL is how all the distros for the most part get the product. It's like probably 95% from DHL.
And like if you were to order snus online, if you were to go onto like Snus Central or something and order snus, it's going to come DHL.
Yeah.
You know, it's going to come from Sweden or Norway or whatever, and it's going to come DHL to you. But yeah, they won't do any domestic tobacco shipping.
So just clarifying that with everybody in chat right now.
And people are still asking me, and I just want to take a minute to clarify. As far as UPS and FedEx and all of that goes, it is of their own volition. Like UPS and FedEx could still ship these products, but the paperwork, all of the logistics, all the tax collecting, all the different things that go into them doing that makes it unappealing for them to continue.
Yeah, especially on the B2C side.
Yeah,
I was kind of surprised that they did all-out bans. Like I kind of expected preemptively they'd say we're not doing B2C, like, but to do like a B2B ban, that seemed like some.
But I think you're probably closer to it right now as far as like it's a preemptive thing. Once we see USPS's final guidance, I think, like you said, some of that may.
Yeah, there's a good chance they'll loosen up on the B2B stuff.
Yeah, because I mean, it's still, you know, they're losing money here regardless. But at the end of the day, too, like somebody said, well, they're going to lose so much money. They're going to lose so much money. Yes, they're going to lose money, but when you have big companies like USPS or UPS, FedEx, these guys, public opinion, public perception also matters too. And with the public perception around vapor products as shitty as it is right now, you know, they want to stay in good graces. They want to and they just don't want to deal with all this extra paperwork and all the hoops and shit they have to jump through.
But look, if USPS comes out and says we are, you know, us and the ATF are exercising enforcement discretion and we won't be enforcing this rule against non-nicotine containing hardware, then everyone could just ship hardware through USPS. The problem is like, where are they going to get the liquid from?
Yeah.
And it's like, I know there really isn't many like restrictions on the DIY side of things with getting like the concentrates, the flavorings and all that stuff, the VG and PG, all that stuff you can get pretty easily, but the one thing that's going to be the most difficult is the nicotine.
Nicotine will probably be considered like a component, in that rule, I believe.
So
you won't be able to get your actual.
So I know a lot of people are taking like the steps of like stocking up right now when it comes to while you still can get your nicotine. I know there's people that have enough nicotine in their freezer right now for the last 5 years.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a bad idea. Like, if you are completely reliant on online when it comes to how you vape, it's not a bad idea to stock up on some stuff. You know, because even if like there is some things that change, you know, you might have a dead time where you can't get that, you know, a couple of months where you're not able to get it, or you know, maybe you can't find a foreign retailer that'll ship it to you or whatever.
Yeah. this whole thing sucks the most for the people that, to me, the ones that live out the rural areas, the ones where that only rely on online, to where the closest vape shop to you is 30 plus miles away. And when it comes to like, oh, you maybe thought at the beginning that you can get your stuff shipped via like FedEx or UPS, but now that they did those stances, and usually FedEx and UPS wouldn't deliver in such a rural area, they usually stick to like within suburban city or limits, I guess you could say, where when it comes to anything that's rural and out of the way for them, they would just switch that over to USPS. I've had that happen multiple times, to where it's like, originally when I order off a website for something, their shipping option is FedEx, but once it gets like into your area, it gets like transferred over to USPS and delivered that way.
Yeah.
And it's
a couple quick things from the chat. First up, an advocate for liberty asked Matt, how quickly, in your opinion, do you think vape freight could be a viable option nationwide?
I don't know, but that's not the only option. Look, I mean, vape freight's being ran by the guy that does the vape shows. What's his name? Michael Wittenberg.
Say it's the NVE guy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to get too controversial here, but like, I don't have a lot of trust in that guy, like, to be able to pull it off. Nationally, I trust the big distros, Medusa's, the Demand Vapes, and I know that they've been looking at different like logistics for freight options and stuff, and maybe they're going to use vape freight. I don't know, but again, I'm not super concerned. I think the vape shops are going to end up, still going to be able to get what they want.
Yeah, because when it comes to like looking at shops near me, a lot of the distros are close enough to where they really don't need shipping. They can drive to the distro themselves and pick up what they need. So depending on your location from a distro, you should be okay.
Yeah,
but just...
well, that's the problem. Part of the problem is like, I was talking to Donish, who owns Medusa, and like, it's no big deal to get vape product within like 50 miles of any vape shop in the country, like with freight businesses. It's just getting that last 50 miles to them,
Yeah. Pancake said, Dimitri said last night that the PACT Act includes all things DIY. Not sure how they can regulate / ban flavorings. I get nicotine, but not the rest.
Really?
They won't be able to.
I think maybe there might be some intended use type of situation there, but like maybe like they would really clamp down on like a company that's selling all DIY stuff together, like DIY kits or something. But
for like B2C, like somebody at home ordering VG, PG, and PG based flavorings or something like that. They can't do anything about it.
That's the problem though, is like the way it was written in the PACT Act, it is very broad. Now, when you think about it, like logically, as far as like enforcement and how are they going to figure that out, are they really going to like make DIY ingredients like a high priority? I doubt it, but the bulk nicotine they might, especially because it's like, it's bigger packaging. It's easier to detect, to figure out, okay, this person is shipping 5 gallons of nicotine. But I wouldn't necessarily be concerned about some of the other components for DIY.
I'm really curious with if there are going to be a lot of companies out there that are going to continue to stay open and kind of tell the PACT Act to go shove it, even though they're going to be taking a very huge risk, because they're not.
There definitely will be. I mean, let's just be honest. Like, there's always going to be people that are going to break the rules until they're shut down.
Do you have any idea how many illegal things go through a USPS every single day?
Oh yeah.
The problem is if you're in the U.S. and you're doing that, it's a little more than just like breaking FDA rules, which is like, a warning letter, right? So if you're in the U.S. and you continue breaking these rules, and you might get a little slap on the wrist the first time you do it, but like dealing with like the ATF and stuff, where you could have big fines and even possibly get have criminal charges. It's a whole different ballgame from FDA stuff. So
yeah, because they have the ability.
I foresee like the foreign retailers lasting a lot longer than the U.S. online retailers.
Because I can see the ATF going even the route of going to a distro that's still, or somewhere, an online retailer that has a warehouse, and completely like surrounding it and arresting people going that route eventually if they continue to break the law. And it's kind of a crazy thing where it's like, I don't want to say getting swatted just for like a drug heist kind of situation where they find a drug operation and shut that down. I don't want to see that happening with any kind of online retailer that continues to stay open. But
yeah,
who knows if the ATF would even go that far to get their...
I mean, they might try to make an example out of somebody, but I would guess, okay, like let's say one of the... Most likely, if there's rule breakers, it's going to be the small guys, right? So, like, it's, I highly doubt a Giant Vapes or a Vapor DNA or an Element Vape would just break the rules. No. Like, they're too big, they'd get caught very easily, and they have too much to lose, obviously, too. And, so most likely you'd see the smaller operations or some kind of black gray market type of operation that's selling shit through, social media and stuff like that, continue to break those rules.
Because I know there's been a lot of people trying to find like loopholes within kind of the PACT Act itself when it comes to being an online retailer still, where it's like instead of shipping it from shop location under said shop name, shipping it under so-and-so employee who works at the shop and using a different address.
You're breaking the rules though at that point.
Yeah, and I'm sure a lot of people are going to do that. Obviously, if you're going to run some black market shipping operation in the U.S., you're not going to put like Matt's Vape Shop on the label.
I don't think you're going to put anything with the word vape in there to begin with.
No.
And again, like, obviously, I'm not. Who knows what they would do? I would see them, maybe giving that operation a slap on the wrist the first time they're caught.
Yeah.
Maybe that person would act dumb about it. Oh, I didn't know, or something. But if you saw like a big, operation like pop up and like they were being investigated for a while and maybe already got caught or something, then I could definitely see them getting raided or something like that.
Yeah, because I know a lot of the enforcement when it comes to like UPS not doing it, FedEx not doing it. It's like beginning of April, I've been thinking, right?
Somewhere around there.
I know. I think
I have no firsthand knowledge of this, but I have a little bit of firsthand knowledge.
Like,
I heard rumors a couple of years ago that there was, and I have no idea who. I'm not that connected to this, but there were various companies that were setting up warehouses overseas for, in case there was any issues like flavor bans, a vape mail ban or whatever. Yeah. Now, obviously, if you're still based in the States, you could still get arrested even if you're having your shit shipped from a different country. But if you aren't, you have no footprint in the U.S., like, it's what are the repercussions? It seems very minimal. They're not going to extradite you from Canada and get you into the States to freaking arrest you. The most they're going to do is catch your packages at the border, and obviously they're only going to catch one out of every who knows how many, 100, 200,000, I don't know. So that's just where I see it going. I see anytime there's a demand for something, people are going to find a way to get it, and if they can still buy it from a foreign retailer and get liquid that they like and hardware that they like from a Canadian retailer or European retailer or whoever, people are going to do that.
Yeah, I'm curious if this is kind of like going to show an influx of possible like European companies kind of becoming more popular here in the U.S. because with the lack of companies that are going to stay around that are within the U.S., kind of taking advantage of the amount of companies that are coming from possibly the UK and having their product brought over here to kind of at least have the product still available for people, just to another way to work around the thing, because it'll be a way for them to still get their product in through some shipping ways.
You're like a big liquid company. Let's say you're like Jam Monster, right? A vape mail ban's not going to shut you down. You have a huge presence in vape shops already. You're already selling hundreds of thousands of bottles to vape shops, but you could ship a lot of your liquid to foreign online retailers, and they can decide they want to ship it back, and it's no skin on it's not your fault because you have no idea where the end was going to be for that product. So, it's just, there's a lot of like different variables. It's just, as we've seen, obviously, when it comes to any kind of ban on, a drug or anything that has demand to it, like people still find a way to get it, and
Yeah, so
there's people that fill a vacuum to facilitate, you getting it.
So it's like I can definitely start seeing moving forward of like companies overseas or companies in Canada kind of coming out and saying, hey, we'll ship to the US if needed. If you like, we have a shipping option for you,
Oh,
so
for
on and so
sure.
forth.
There's already multiples that,
Yeah.
do it now, like in Canada, and I highly doubt they're going to stop unless somehow they get like every package stopped at the border.
Which, with the amount of packages coming through the borders every single day, there's always going to be stuff that slips through.
Oh, for sure. But I mean, they obviously would also have to be like probably mindful of how they're labeling it too. So like if you have vape in your name and you're constantly shipping packages to the US, like, I don't know.
And I know something in Canada, when they ship, they have to like disclose what it is. And I know people that are putting down things like essential oils, personal lubricant, all sorts of stuff like that, like
metal components, like
electronic components, heating elements, all sorts of things like that. Advocate for Liberty said Vermont admitted during hearings that the state has no way of enforcing vape mail. It would be up to the federal enforcement to have any effect here. Sure.
Yeah, but it's like the thing that always pops in my head is how are they going to enforce this stuff? Like we're waiting for USPS to come.
Again, I feel like I'm just saying it till I'm blue in the face here. Do you know how much illegal stuff goes through the mail? Like Matt said, they might catch one out of hundreds of packages, thousands. I mean,
like with all this stuff happening, to me, there's more of a chance of maybe 5 people out of 100 not getting their packages.
I mean, I don't want to put like
exact numbers into it, but there's like, to me, there's
not to say that you're not going to have risk doing it. It's just, especially like if you're just Joe Schmo shipping to your buddy Joe Schmo. Like I have friends who just send me some liquid or something like that, buddy to buddy. The chances of that getting caught are so small, it's not even funny. I mean, unless it's taking place like extremely regularly, maybe, and if you're like a mixer who's shipping constantly, maybe, and you have a website where maybe they find you or something and you're giving up red flags, sure, just don't do stupid shit. But like the chances of your buddy sending you a bottle and you guys there being an issue, the chances of that getting caught somewhere along the line are pretty slim. But it's not to say that there's no risk there. Like there absolutely is inherent risk there. I'm not telling anybody to go break the law. I'm just hopefully putting into perspective that risk that's there.
Well, it's going to be interesting too, seeing like, will we see more vape shops potentially pop up because of this? Like there's sales for example, for e-liquid for like the last 4 or 5 months have been really good. Like they've come back. Like, I'm hearing from a lot of distros that their e-liquid sales are like where it was in 2017. And we're seeing they're saying that disposables are starting to slow down quite a bit. So there's still a demand, obviously. And
do you think a lot of that is just people stocking?
Well, yeah, I would say that, except for this was happening before that law got passed.
Yeah.
So like,
yeah, but I mean, we've had the legislation for the vape mail ban, whatever.
Yeah, but no one knew about that. No one was talking about it, and it was tabled in the Senate. Like it wasn't going to get passed without. That was never going to get passed unless they got it into the spending bill. So I mean, I'm not saying there's none of that going on. Obviously there is, but like the e-liquid sales are going way up to vape shops to all over the place right now. And I don't think that it's just because of the vape mail stuff.
Yeah, so I'm curious to see what's going to happen because we've already been saying like all the laws that they're going to put into place and all the laws they have put into place, the one thing they're going to do is they're going to create a massive black market out of it. And people are going to try to find a ways to get around things.
Matt Welch said his last package from Vapor DNA arrived from VDNA.
Oh, yeah, I think that they've been doing that for a while because I vaguely remember getting a few packages from them that said that as well.
Yeah, that way that vapor isn't isn't right on that package. But still, I mean, Vapor DNA, they're a big company.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I would be hard pressed to think they're gonna keep shipping a lot of things.
So it's like
now, obviously, like a company like who I'm watching is like Giant Vapes and Avail because they're probably the biggest independent company in the space. You know, Avail they did. I think a piece of them was owned by Big Tobacco, but then they bought it back. So they're 100% independent right now.
I want to say it was Altria at one point.
Yeah, it was Altria.
So they have obviously a lot of money, a lot of lawyers, and Giant Vapes, which they bought, a year or two ago, is millions of dollars of business. So I'm assuming they're exhausting all options. They're probably lobbying right now as well. They're probably in talks with UPS. How are we going to figure this out? I feel like they're probably trying everything. Maybe they pull something off. Maybe USPS will put out clarifications, and they'll get UPS to agree to doing it. But I don't have super high hopes. But that's what I'm watching. Like if you see Giant Vapes just say, "Okay, guys, we're going out of business. It's done," then that tells me they tried everything, and B2C in the US is most likely, from US online retailers is most likely over.
Yeah, because what was I gonna say? Crap, I had it and then it gone. Let's see.
Matthew Welch said group orders to shop. I saw somebody else in chat earlier mentioning something like shipping. Shops may, if you have a good rapport with shops, maybe they will do special orders for things that you're after as long as it's worth their time.
Yeah, a lot of shops do.
You would be able to go in and pick that stuff up as long as B2B kind of, remains an option.
That idea has been floated around for a while. Could you have an online retailer ship your order to a shop? I don't see that as being viable long term because one, I don't think that the online retailers would be able to survive on just shipping products to different vape shops when people decide they want them. And two, those vape shops don't want to lose out on that piece of the pie. They would rather just say, okay, we'll just stock some of this. We'll order it from our distro next time or something.
Yeah. And plus the only way to make that worth anybody's time is big orders, vape shops aren't just going to order you a bottle and it's gotta be an order that's worthwhile to them.
Yeah. But if there's a certain e-liquid flavor that you really like and you're hey, I use this all the time. It's one of my favorites. You should just bring it in. You could probably get a vape shop to do that. most are cool.
Yeah.
I'll just start carrying it because odds are if it's really good like you say it is, other people will want to buy it too. But as far as some obscure RDA that they were never going to bring in or something like that, that might be a little bit tougher sell for them.
Yeah.
With anything kind of trying to find loopholes into things or trying to find different avenues to get product shipped out, I think the first avenue, of course, is going to be making sure these businesses are taken care of, to where it's let's get the business to business taken care of first, get all our things in a bunch, to where it's okay, we have a set way of how business to business is going to stay, but then focus on business to consumer, because that's going to be the most important
I have
part.
a lot more confidence in the B2B side of things. I think it's gonna work itself out.
I think so too.
And so I'm not super stressed about that, but it's the B2C stuff, obviously.
LabWorks, are you referring to their final guidance on this whole issue, or just their current regulations regarding the PACT Act without this new guidance involved in it?
Yeah, from my understanding, their clarifications weren't going to be till April. But
February 19th seems like a really close date for all of this.
But
Logan,
if it is February 19th, that's great.
Yeah.
February. Advocate for Liberty said, Logan, my shop will let me order anything and have it shipped to them. Often will leave an order for me and give it to me at the wholesale price. Well, good for you, Tim.
Yeah.
That isn't going to be that way for everybody, though. I mean, you probably got a really good rapport with your shops
out there. If their distro carries it and they can get a small amount of that, then they'll probably do it for you. But if it's like I said, if it's if that shop never sells RDAs very often, and like in order for them to bring it in, they have to buy 50 pieces. There's a minimum order for it. Then it's gonna be a little tougher. So it depends on the shop and like what kind of rapport they have with distros too.
And I can possibly see U.S. distros starting to kind of bringing up their stock levels when it comes to different things they have in different variety, all kinds of stuff. Having more than like 5 brands. Let's say you have 5 brands that kind of have the same flavor as a distro. You want to kind of stop there, but that's not going to be the case. So you're going to start maybe instead of having 5 brands that have the same flavor, have 10 to 15 different brands, to where distros might be kind of increasing stock and increasing the amount they have on hand. So let's just say if a shop wants to get different things in, that they can pretty much make sure that they're going to stay with us and not go with anybody else.
LabWorks, is this a USPS tweet?
I just tweeted it to you. I just DM'd it to you as well, Matt. Hang on. Let me get it to, I'll send it over to Corey here too.
Yeah. Are you sending it on Twitter? Or?
I'm going to send it to you in Discord really quik.
Gotcha.
Maybe
It's unpublished. It's an unpublished regulations for the PACT Act as far as e-cigarettes go. It is going to be published on the 19th.
So maybe
they're going to have a 30-day comment period.
Yeah, maybe I was thinking April because that's when it'll be finalized. But this is interesting because I don't think I've read.
Well, it's publicly available. Okay.
I don't think I've
read. I'm downloading the unpublished version right now. The post office proposes to revise Publications 52, Hazardous, Restricted, and Perishable Mail, to incorporate new statutory restrictions on the mailing of electronic nicotine delivery systems. We must receive your comments on or before insert date 30 days after publication. So if it gets published on the 19th, you'll have 30 days from there. We'll have 30 days for a comment period. Matt, do you really think a comment period on this is going to make a lot of difference?
I don't know. I mean, like I said, I need to read through this, but like,
I think a comment period is great to get everybody's their opinions, voices on the record, to have it.
I think like there needs to be firm regulations in place so like shippers then know what they can do first off. And like I said, I do think like there's a chance that they loosen up on the hardware stuff because of, you know, all the lobbying, the cannabis industry, stuff like that.
Current mailing restrictions. Oh, that's cigarettes and smokeless tobacco.
Date for eventual final rule. Let's see.
So
do they
understand? Yeah.
Does USPS define e-liquid under smokeless tobacco? I don't believe so. I believe it's a category.
They're saying something about we propose to treat ends as a standalone category.
Mm-hmm. This is interesting. Shipment transfers between verified and other tobacco businesses.
Yeah, did you see that under the cigarettes and smokeless tobacco, Corey? What you just muttered?
Where the
I know this is super riveting content, guys. We're all just scrolling through this official thing.
Shipments transmitted between verified and authorized tobacco industry businesses for business purposes, or between such businesses and federal or state agencies for regulatory purposes. So would that mean that if you have the licensing to be a seller of tobacco products, that you could still use them? Is that what I'm reading?
I think you can use them for B2B, from my understanding.
Yeah, I don't want to make any big claims on that because we just kind of browse.
We're reading through a document that hasn't been published yet.
I'll check with Jim, everybody.
Yeah, this is something.
Jim will be like, no. But
lightweight shipments mailed between adult individuals, limited 10 per 30-day period. Huh. Consumer testing, limited shipments of cigarettes sent by verified and authorized manufacturers to adult smokers, and limited shipments by federal agencies for public health purposes. This is interesting, and it shows their definition of an ends product too. Okay, I'm gonna definitely have to read over this a lot more to kind of. Yeah, because if this is going to be
talking about, like, you know, things that have been approved by the FDA for therapeutic or smoking cessation, you know, could be treated differently, but that doesn't apply to any of our products. Even if they're PMTA approved, they're they're not modified risk approved or approved for cessation.
Yeah, so it'd be, let's see, particularities here merit a brief discussion.
Yeah, I know, Tim. I know, Tim. I just don't want to make any claims without really knowing what we're getting into yet. Yeah. Swaggin said flavored booty juice, 21 plus. I don't know what that's in reference to, but I mean, you might be able to ship flavored booty juice, Swags. That might be a possibility.
Joshua J. Hoffer, attorney, ethics, and legal compliance. Is this the guy? Is he a employer? Is he employed with USPS? That's what I'm curious about. If this is like I want to know if this is like an official USPS document that just hasn't been published yet. This document is scheduled to be published on the Federal Register 219, available online at Federal Register. Yeah, this is. Are you gonna look into this guy right now?
Me?
Actually, let's see if this guy's on Twitter.
You get it from China all the time. Dope.
Hold on.
Do you get your flavored booty juice through DHL? Swags?
Oh. Let's see.
Yeah, I'm not seeing anything like groundbreaking here, like
no,
as far as any kind of
Yeah, I will. I'm gonna read through it all later, and
this is definitely something that would be nice to look over. And
ESL.
Asian black market.
Silk Road, baby.
Yeah, this is. Yeah, Paul, thanks for bringing this to our attention. Actually,
yes, thank you, Paul. I'm going to share it around with people who are more intelligent than me.
AKA Jim.
Mostly Jim.
Jim, what is this?
Jim and Matt. I'll sit down with Jim and Matt and we'll figure this out.
So, what's going on here? Yeah,
I think C stores should be eligible for A to B shipments, changing market but keeping products more available.
Yeah, but the thing with C stores you have to remember is like the only products that C stores are really gonna care to carry are closed pod systems, incumbent tobacco company systems, and Enjoy maybe, things like that. But your average 7-Eleven isn't gonna stock a wall of hardware and liquid and oils and.
I mean, I've seen some like gas stations that actually have like the ages.
Yeah, there's a gas station in town that used to have a little glass cabinet with like some local like bad drip liquids in there, and maybe a mod or two with a tank. But it's so nil, it's so few and far between, and it's really not. It's not really like an answer. You know what I mean? And those are going to be your smaller kind of. I don't know, mom and pop gas station, convenience store kind of stuffs that are going to do that. Like your big 7-Elevens and shit like that. Like they're not going to do that.
See, I'm looking at this certain individuals part where lightweight shipments mailed between adult individuals limited to 10 per 30-day period.
That's something different though. That's not like for a consumer.
You
That's
don't think so?
No, I forget what that has to do with. Like something dealing with like samples and shit like that.
Okay. Consumer testing, limited shipments of cigarettes. See, all these are saying like.
Absolutely, Swags. We love you too, brother.
It's
going to be the head shops that save our lungs. Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna hold off on.
Yeah, I'm just gonna read through it and.
I really read through it.
We need to talk to Jim. Because he'll be able to break this down.
Sit down with a bunch of people to get a.
Yeah. I'm going to share this around a little bit and be like, I need more clarification on this.
Family-owned C-store in my town has a vape cabinet but charges almost $200 for a 2018 $60 kit. Yeah, there's that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to happen. But again, like you said, family-owned C-store. It's not an answer, but it's an option that may be available for a limited supply for those in need. Sure. I mean... Yes and no, right? Like, again, most of your places are not going to do that. So if you're somebody who can't get vape mail, you have no local shop, and the only gas station you have in town is a 7-Eleven,
That's
You know what
selling
I
a
mean?
$60 product for $200.
So again, like there's it's a very limited number of places and people that may be able to benefit from that. It's nowhere near an answer for the vast majority of folks.
Well, this is published. It should be published on Friday.
I just skimmed it. I don't see anything like crazy different in there.
Yeah.
It's mostly dealing with definitions, like how they're going to define it and stuff.
Yeah.
I'll definitely be interested to see how that comes along. And these
So
next couple weeks.
This doesn't really look like the final guidance.
No, that's just like what basically the proposed rule, and by law they have to get comment. But here's the thing. In the proposed rule, they have to basically go by what the bill said, and just define, put ends into the PACT Act, and they're going to give clarifications as far as the laws for shipping, which will be the same as what the laws are with cigarettes. If they decide that they're going to do like enforcement discretion on hardware, say, or whatever, that's like not going to be in the rule. That'll just probably be something that would come later on.
Yeah.
But yeah, Paul, thank you for sending that our way.
Yeah, appreciate it, Paul.
Let's see if we're same or the Ciggy Shop, $25 60 mils and Smoke Aliens for $150. Yeah. It's not completely making that stuff unavailable for you. It's just like people that know it's not worth that much. So it's like, I don't know if you're going to try to take advantage of people who aren't in the know to try to just get their money.
You're gonna have a ton of places that are gonna try to take advantage of this and boost prices up. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's just common practice.
I'm curious if we're gonna start seeing if in the beginning, if we don't see any kind of thing changes happening, to where we're gonna start seeing Facebook groups happening, like black market Facebook groups kind of thing, underground. Sure. I know there's already some that exist. They have been out there for a while now, so I don't know if we're going to see a surplus of people.
Discord has
pretty good at cracking down now. I'm in whiskey groups and stuff, and if you want to sell something, you have to use different terminology, or they're gonna. So, but I mean, there's going to be stuff like that for sure. Yeah. Like I said, I still though think the biggest thing's going to be from foreign online retailers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll see how that works out.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I heard about that a little bit today, Paul. I have no idea what's going on with that. Yeah, Facebook media ban in Australia. That's kind of something.
The Aegis Legend is going to cost $150 soon. I mean, there's a good chance you'll still just be able to ship one out of China.
Yeah.
$65.
Heaven's Gifts.
Yeah.
One of those companies.
What is that?
The Lego Mall or whatever.
Yeah, I'm sure you're still going to be able to get your Aegis Legend for under $150. Now, if you go to that family-owned C-store that Mowgli's talking about, then it's going to cost you.
Let's say a pair of 18650s is going to be $85 from that price. Shit.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. Just go to 18650 battery store, guys.
Right. That's everything you need.
For sure.
Yeah.
All right.
Opportunists won't pass the chance to cash in. Totally.
So
agree.
what do you guys think here? I mean, final thoughts, because we've been going for a little while now on this topic. Maybe we can kind of wrap it up for this week.
Yeah.
B2B is still up in the air, but there's a good chance B2B will still be around.
Yeah, I feel confident that B2B will still find a way.
B2C,
give it time.
Unlikely, still possible, but unlikely.
I think there's avenues.
My best advice to people is shop local.
Yeah.
If your vape shops, if you still have vape shops, if you're fortunate enough to still have a local vape shop that is selling flavored e-liquid, support them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the best you can.
Get a good rapport with your local vape shops, and maybe some of them probably might not even know about this, right? And so maybe they'll bring in more product, and expecting that they're going to have more consumers now. But it's always good to have backups, do some research on different foreign online companies, do a little stocking up, have different ways you can get stuff, and you'll never have a drought.
Yeah. Don't what is that saying? Don't put all your eggs in one basket or whatever.
Yeah, we don't want to see anybody put in a situation to where their option is either begging or going like.
And I'm just going to throw it out there for people who are nervous right now, or if you're in a situation where you can't get something already, please reach out. Join the Rise and Vape Discord. We have a section completely dedicated to helping find ways to get you products that you need in order to remain smoke-free.
Reach out to me.
If you're struggling, if you're worried, if you're nervous, please DM me literally anywhere on social media, Logan_Exhales. We'll get you in the Discord, and we have a fantastic group of people there who understand the risks, and the risk of you going back to smoking outweighs that. So please reach out. If you're nervous, we'll get you in there and we'll take care of you.
Yeah, 100%.
Did I put on the new accessories already? Are we talking about my Aegis? Do you guys want to see it with the custom Rise and Vape Aegis skin?
Do it. Let's see it.
I'll go get it if you want to see it.
Go grab it while I kind of give my final thoughts.
Okay, yeah, go ahead. I'm going to go grab it because it's kind of cool. I want to show it off.
So Logan already gave his kind of thoughts a little bit, but I'll kind of share on mine. Business to business, I think that will live. It's going to be kind of a small little lull period in between. Like there's going to be a small hiccup period, I think. But then I feel like business will, I don't want to say get back to normal, but there will be a way for it to continue on. They're going to find some way to do it, or there's going to be some, like how you were talking about earlier about like people are going to get a hold of like UPS or USP, like all that kind of stuff where there's going to be some underlying non-enforcement kind of thing.
Yeah, there's other freight options too.
I mean, the options are countless.
In fact, B2B will probably thrive.
Yeah. Business to consumer, I want to say that I have hopes for it, but I'm not leaving Mike. I don't want to put my hopes up just for it to be crushed. Awesome, yeah. But
yeah, shout out to Lee. These are dope. Yeah, I don't know if you guys have ever seen this company, Custom Aegis Skins.
Yeah, those are sick.
But those are pretty cool.
But I'm trying to keep my hopes up for business consumer because I'm giving hopes in people who are trying to create these avenues to where either creating a small logistics company that can ship the stuff or creating small shipping companies throughout the country to still have people the availability to order through them. I'm always staying on the positive end of things, well, at least trying to. So I'm not going to say it's completely dead until we see something where it's like how you're saying Giant Vape or Element Vape are going to pretty much saying, we're closing our doors. We have no other way of figuring this out. We've tried every avenue. We've tried every situation to try to get consumers their products. Then is when I'm going to start kind of trying to think of other things. But right now, I'm going to stay optimistic, and my hopes to people is if you have the money right now, try to stock up a little bit. That's what I've been doing these past 2 weeks, trying to get a little bit more stock in my possession, just so it's like if there is that hiccup period to where I'm going to not be able to get some stuff, then I'm going to be okay. And I know there's plenty of shops around me, so in the end of the day, I won't have to be without my product in the end. But this is going to be a good opportunity to kind of go back to supporting smaller businesses, small local businesses, which I don't mind doing. It's how I started vaping, and it could be the way to go back. It's kind of like how things go full circle, where it's like you start going to the vape shop. You find out about online stops, but then you kind of go back in circle of going back to supporting your local businesses, going back to a shop and creating that relationship, because creating a relationship with a shop owner and somebody, or a shop employee, or just a shop in general, it's a great thing. It's kind of, you learn so many things. You can teach some things as well to the people at the shops, and that's overall a great experience you can build. And it's just being able to kind of talk to your fellow vapor. It's always a fun thing that I like doing. So yeah, those are kind of, yes, I have a drawer full of liquid that I can be okay for a long time. But
yeah, this is something that I've told a lot of, like, I know a lot of people who are hobbyist vapors, well connected, know people that run shops, own small liquid companies, coil make, all this stuff. If you're well connected, if you're part of this community, you're going to be okay. Mm-hmm. I'm not worried about you. I'm not worried about, I'm not worried about Matt finding liquid and coil heads. I'm not worried about Corey getting liquid and coil heads. I'm not worried about me. I have I have a great connection, an incredible community. You guys are absolutely amazing. I'm not worried about me. I'm worried about the 60-year-old grandmother who can't leave the house, has disabilities, and is at serious risk of returning to smoking because it's the only available nicotine product that she can get now. Those are the people that I'm concerned about. You know, I'm not worried about Addy Tooney over there with his basement of hobbyist or garage of hobbyist toys. Like, you know, I'm concerned about the people who we need to be concerned about, the people who aren't connected, you know, within this community and things like that.
I'm starting assuming that
going to
since
suffer the most.
Addy's been living the retired life now, he's living the highballer retired life. I think he just moved from having a vape garage to like a second vape house.
He might. I mean, you know, that's a distinct possibility.
He has like a small, maybe like one room
I need
flat.
to re-wick up the Addy K fund that he sent me because it's glorious.
Yeah, I gotta bring that thing back out soon.
Okay, thank you, Lee. Yeah, to anybody else, Pancakes, you guys can all DM me anywhere on social media. It's all Logan_Exhales if you're interested in joining that Discord.
Yeah,
we'll get you right in there. I'll send you a link. You know, we take care of our own. So.
Yeah, but Matt, do you have any kind of final thoughts on everything?
I think you guys covered it, but really just, you know, come up with a plan. Like, stock up on some stuff, find some different avenues of getting what you want, and just kind of wait and see how it all plays out. You know, that's vaping for you. Like, there's always
that's pretty much what sums up vaping with
there's always something new that's on the horizon. And
like, let's sit back and wait for what.
Join CASA.
Yeah, join CASA, definitely.
Yeah, haven't joined CASA yet. Please join CASA. Yeah.
Like I said, I definitely am not concerned for the vape shops. I think that's going to survive. But, you know, if you don't have access to a vape shop, then you're going to have to find other avenues. We'll see what happens with B2C.
Before we roll out of here, kind of want to...
pandemic lifts, we need to push more awareness and try to create an availability to smokers in need, as well as disrupting the misinformation spread on a nationwide level. Again, yeah, I mean, we've been trying to do that for years. Thanks. Awesome. Sweet.
Mm-hmm. Before we get out of here, I just want to go over really quickly what little local state stuff is going on in CASA right now. Still got the flavor ban in Texas, so keep an eye out for that. I know Lee's been keeping me pretty well informed with that. So if you go to CASA's website, they have the call to action you can do for Texas. There's Minnesota, which is a vapor tax. I believe the ban got kaput last time we talked. I think we heard about that. And then let's see, we got Indiana, we got the Washington tax. So just make sure you're staying on CASA, make sure you're staying up to date with what's going on in your areas, because they're trying to keep in their best ability to make sure that the rest of us are staying aware of what's going on. But do your due diligence and just make sure you're checking there every other day, every 2 days if possible, just to make sure, because it's being updated almost every day at this point, I feel like. So at that point, just do yourself a favor, bookmark the CASA page. Go when you wake up in the morning, if you're working at home, while you're sipping that morning coffee, just go on the website really quick and just look at that. But at the end of the day...
and tune into the new CASA podcast.
Yes, that'd be cool. That's also really cool. I forgot about that.
Check out the new CASA podcast. It's back after like 4 years of being gone.
Yeah, it's awesome. So
I may or may not be helping.
Look at that. So that is what we have for you guys this week. So remember, we don't have a show next week, but we'll have me and Logan will be back with you guys the following week discussing some more, whatever we find out, possible new regulations.
Yeah, maybe by then we might have a little bit of a better idea, but
yeah,
who knows?
Everything's up in the air right now, but
you guys know us though. We'll find something to talk about.
Yeah, we always have to find something. So at the end of the day, Matt, thank you again for coming on and talking to us about this.
We'll bring Swags in to talk about flavored booty liquid or whatever it was that he was getting. All right, everybody.
But big shout out to Matt. Thank you guys. Thank you everybody for tuning in, and we will see you all next time.
Bye-bye.
Oh, are we doing the thing? You want to do it? Okay.
Do we vape?